These are the 5 exact foods I ate every single day in order to lose 50 pounds in 3 months. And today I'm gonna break them all down for you so you can do the same exact thing. Now, these 5 foods aren't the only foods I ate, but they were the cornerstones to my meal plan that really helped me permanently transform my physique and has helped me stay lean well into my late 30s and will keep me lean for the rest of my life, utilizing some simple strategies. Before we jump into the 5 foods, hit that like button and let me show you the 5 foods that led to permanent body transformation. Back in my early 20s, I was 65 pounds overweight. And probably like many of you, I really struggled to figure out how do I actually lose this weight and maintain any semblance of a normal lifestyle. And trust me when I say I tried every diet under the sun, from the old school bodybuilding diets where I was eating chicken, rice, and broccoli for almost every single meal, to a little bit more flexible where I was eating like egg whites and oatmeal and maybe a little bit of tilapia and eventually maybe a steak here and there. But all of the diets that I tried were just extremely restrictive. So what I ended up uncovering as I got close to my mid-20s was this whole thing called flexible dieting. And flexible dieting at the time was a hot button because people were realizing that as long as you tracked your calories and your macros, meaning your protein, your carbohydrates, and your fats, you could basically eat whatever you wanted and you'd still lose weight, assuming you were in what's called a calorie deficit. But that's where things got really interesting because I also got into a phase where I was way too flexible with my nutrition, meaning I was eating too much stuff that wasn't really healthy, which led to my appetite getting really out of control. I was experimenting with things like eating Pop-Tarts and candy and cookies and all these other things that I was just fitting into my calories. But that resulted in my appetite starting to really spiral out of control. And I'd find my cravings were through the roof pretty much every single day. So what I realized was there was a happy medium. So I want to explain the 5 foods that make up the cornerstone of my nutrition strategy today, almost 10 years later, and 2 kids later, and a full-time 7-figure business later that takes up so much of my time that now I don't have anywhere near the same amount of time I had back then. So I have to have a nutrition strategy that makes sense for pretty much all parts of my life, from when I travel, to my social life, to my family life. I need to have foods that keep me lean and allow me to feel sane and enjoy life at the same time. So that's the 5 foods I'm gonna break down today, starting with number 1. The number 1 food that I have in my day is ground beef. Now, ground beef is, number 1, easy to prep. All you have to do is open up the package, put it in a pan, put the right spices together on the beef, and basically let it cook for 15 minutes or so. Next thing you know, you have a really solid base of protein for meal prep, and it's something that anybody can put together. But ground beef also has a plethora of vitamins and minerals. Plus, it's really satiating and it goes with so many different foods. It goes with things like rice. It goes with things like potatoes. You can even put it in a salad. There's so many different things you can do with it that is really versatile. So ground beef is food choice number 1. Now, why is this also important? Because you can pretty much find ground beef anywhere. So obviously you can find it at grocery stores, but you can also order it at fast food restaurants. And then you can also then you can also pick up ground beef at most fast food restaurants if it comes to that, which it shouldn't come to that very frequently, but even places like McDonald's or Wendy's or Burger King, which I know are not under the healthy foods tabs for most people, they still offer ground beef patties. So you can get ingredients that you can create a healthy meal with, which for me, convenience is number 1. I don't want to have to be scrambling, trying to find foods to eat. I want to grab and go. And ground beef happens to be one of those foods that makes it super easy to do so. So ground beef would be food number 1. Now, what I'll say with ground beef is there's obviously levels of leanness when it comes to the beef itself. I typically stick with like 93% ground beef because it doesn't bombard me with fat calories, right? Because the fattier the meat, the more calories it has. So I like to maintain some good taste, but not go crazy with the fat. So if I was eating like 80% ground beef, it's gonna have a lot of calories coming from fat. And if I go crazy and get like 96 ground beef, which sometimes I do, the taste is a little bit off. I like a little bit tastier of ground beef. So I typically go with the 93%. Food number 2, and this is not gonna shock you, but chicken. I know chicken is the staple in pretty much every boring bodybuilding diet, but chicken, when used properly, can be a really tasty food. And once again, it's a versatile food. So you can do things like make healthy chicken wraps. You can do salads with chicken. You can put chicken with, and I know it's gonna sound crazy, but you guys might think I'm nuts. This might ruin the whole entire video, but I like putting chicken with grits. Yes, I'm a grits fanatic. I grew up in the South. Grits are one of my favorite foods. So chicken mixed with grits actually tastes really good. Chicken can be utilized with so many different foods. Once again, it's very tasty with anything you combine it with. So chicken is one of my staples. Plus, it's easy to grab at most fast food places. Most fast food restaurants will serve you a grilled chicken breast by itself. For example, if you go to Chick-fil-A, they have the grilled chicken nuggets. Now, I know they put different oils on it and stuff like that. I'm not here to split hairs and tell you that this is the perfect way to eat. I'm just telling you that if you're sticking to similar foods, you're gonna be able to get them on the go when traveling, when you're out of town, when you're running around from meeting to meeting. You don't have to worry about not having access to these foods. So chicken is food number 2. Food number 3 is eggs. Now, I told you at the beginning of the video that these aren't the only foods I eat. So eggs are something that I will combine with a lot of different things. Sometimes it's an English muffin. I love eggs on English muffins. One of my favorite go-to quick and easy meals that I might have even at nighttime, because I like breakfast at night in some cases. Eggs go with so many different things. You can even combine eggs with a meat source like steak and eggs, or something like shrimp and egg. You can make omelets with eggs where you combine things like vegetables or other protein sources like chicken. Eggs are very versatile. You can even do rice with eggs. People love eggs in so many different formats. Eggs is one of the foods that I keep as one of my staples, because once again, if you're out of town, if you're on vacation, if all you have access to is a grocery store, just about guarantee you'll be able to get eggs. Finally, eggs are once again a powerhouse in nutrients. You know, it's not just about losing weight and getting abs and being ripped and all that stuff. That stuff is cool, but it's also about being healthy. So eggs pack a power punch when it comes to the nutrients that your body needs in order to function at its highest capacity. So mental clarity, energy, heart health, brain health, all the things that you obviously care about. We may not think about it every day, but eggs will contribute to that because of the vitamins and minerals that it contains. Plus, if you get eggs from a trusted source like free-range eggs, organic eggs, they typically have a decent amount of omegas, omega-3s, fatty acids that will help heart, brain, and just overall body health, which are important to include in your diet. So just a great source of nutrition outside of being a convenient and delicious food. Food number 4. Now I'm gonna switch from protein sources to carb sources. Potatoes. Potatoes are one of my favorite carb sources, if not my most favorite carb source. But I don't just eat basic potatoes. I make variations of potatoes that contribute to my sanity, number 1, my enjoyment of my diet, and give me a lot of variety when it comes to my meals. So there's a few different ways I utilize potatoes. Number 1 being I actually make healthy French fries. I personally am a steak fries guy, so I like the thicker, bigger steak fries style of fries. Some of you might be into the shoestring style or just like the classic French fry style. Potatoes are how you make French fries. So I like to utilize a tool like the air fryer, sometimes the oven, and it's super easy to chop up a few potatoes and make some really delicious French fries with just a few simple ingredients. French fries are a really important staple in my diet because my kids like French fries too. So I gotta make stuff that they like as well. You can also do things like hash browns, right? Hash browns are probably my favorite breakfast food. So if I'm going out to eat, I typically try to get the classic hash browns, but you can get those at the store now. You can actually get them with just potatoes as the ingredient. So places like Trader Joe's or grocery stores typically have hash browns in frozen bags that you can literally just put in a pan, let them heat up, put a little spray on them, salt and pepper, and next thing you know, you have your classic restaurant style hash browns to go along with whatever you're eating. Sometimes it's eggs, sometimes it's other things for me, but hash browns is another way. Now I also like to just cut up and dice up potatoes and bake them, your standard side of potatoes type of dish, because potatoes are very filling. In fact, science and studies have shown that potatoes are the number 1 satiating food. So if you struggle with hunger and you're trying to lose weight and you're trying to get healthier, and you're wondering what carb sources should I include, well, I'd highly suggest potatoes be on that list because they are very satiating. They will fill you up for very low amounts of calories. So potatoes are number 4 on my top 5 foods that I eat all the time. So before we get into the last food, which might surprise you, I want to just let you know, if you're looking for a custom nutrition plan that builds your meal plan based off the foods you like to eat, based off the goals you have, the calories you need, the protein, carbs, and fats that your body's gonna utilize in order to get in great shape. That's where our VIP program comes in. So everybody who comes into our program gets a custom nutrition strategy. Now, it's not just based off of calories and macros. It's based off of your eating history. It's based off foods you like to eat. It's based off where you like to eat, what your schedule is, what your travel looks like, what your lifestyle looks like. What do you want to do in terms of enjoyment, eating out, all that kind of stuff. So we build out a whole strategy and system based off your unique setup. All that information can be found in the description of this video, or if you go to the first comment on this video, you can learn all about our program where we help busy professionals just like you become champions in all parts of their life, utilizing health and fitness as your main tool. Go check that out, and we'd be happy to discuss options moving forward. Food number 5. I'm gonna give you a combination here because I'm gonna kind of cheat the system a little bit. I like convenient, high protein snacks. Now, this is a number of things, but I'm gonna go down a quick hit list for you. Number 1 would be Core Power protein shakes. These come in 2 variations, either 42 grams of protein or 26 grams of protein, and the flavors are absolutely amazing. The calories are great, the macros are great, and they're basically all protein. I also like protein bars. Anabar, Outright bars, these are my top 2 favorite protein bars because they taste really good and they have a decent amount of protein without a ton of calories. I also like things like Quest chips, Quest cheese crackers, and I also like legendary pop chips. In fact, the new pizza flavor they came out with is absolutely incredible. Now, these don't make up the majority of my nutrition. If all I was doing was eating protein bars and drinking protein shakes all day, probably gonna be pretty hungry because I'm not getting the nutrients that I need that you can really only get from whole foods. But these fill in the gaps really, really well. And for someone who lives a pretty busy life where I travel for my kids' sports, I travel for fun, I go and do business meetings and business trips, I gotta have some convenience in my day. So I always make sure to have some high protein snacks on hand for those moments where I can't make a meal or I don't wanna prep a full-blown meal that I have to eat cold. I'm just not into that these days. I'd rather grab a protein bar, time myself over, come home, have a nice dinner, or if I'm on vacation, I'd rather grab a protein shake or a protein bar or some protein chips before I go off to the water park for the day and eat a bunch of junk. I'll just fill myself up with higher protein, healthier snacks. These are staples in my diet because they're convenient, they taste good, and once again, thanks to the brilliance of the economy and to the fact that we live in America, or at least I do, you can grab these at pretty much any convenience store. I go into all types of grocery stores these days. I go into 7-Elevens, I go into gas stations, and guess what? You can find these high protein snacks at pretty much all of them. Or if you want to do a little pre-planning, you can go on Amazon, you can go on their actual websites, and you can order these in advance, keep them in the house, throw them in your travel gear, and have them on hand for when you need them the most. This is the food group number 5 that I keep in my day-to-day that has helped me a ton and will continue to help me and all the clients I serve for the foreseeable future. Now, one thing I want to get clear before we wrap up today's video, if you haven't liked the video already, make sure you give it a like and let me know in the comments what's the top 5 foods that you're eating, or what's your favorite food to include in your diet. I hope these give you some insight into how I set up my nutrition plan. Once again, nutrition should be 3 things. Number 1, it should be easy. You don't want it to be complicated. You don't want to have to be thinking through an algebra equation in order to set up your nutrition plan. It should also be really, really convenient, right? You don't want to be making 10-course meals or 30-ingredient recipes. That's just going to take too long. And if you're anything like me, you don't have that kind of time. But most importantly, you want it to be enjoyable. If you get zero enjoyment out of your food, you don't like it, you hate the taste of it, you hate the smell of it, you're just doing it because you want to look a certain way, well, that's a recipe for disaster. You're ultimately going to fail because you have to have some kind of enjoyment. You have to have some return emotionally when it comes to your food. Plus, food is involved in a lot of things we do socially, whether it's eating out, having barbecues, partaking in birthday parties. We don't want to have a weird relationship with food. We want to have flexibility, but also stick to most of the healthiest, same foods most of the time to avoid going crazy with variety. That wraps up today's video. That maps out the 5 foods I utilize the most when it came to losing 50 pounds over the course of 3 months, and most importantly, keeping it off for over a decade and beyond. If you need help building out your own nutrition system that is built for you, built for your lifestyle, built for the goals that you have, go to the description of this video, check out the link there, or go to the first comment. Schedule a quick conversation with me and my team. We'd be happy to serve you and get you on the right track. In the meantime, remember, life moves fast. Make it count. Talk to you on the next one. Peace.